I'm going to talk to you today about using books in Hawaii legislative history research. Our Hawaii House and Senate journals, as well as session laws and finding aids, are all located in the Law Library lobby. The House journals and the Senate journals often have more than one copy of each year, so it's not like it's a two-volume set, it's copy 1 and copy 2. Same with the session laws. This is what they look like on the shelf. We're going to continue with the legislative history of HRS 291C-123, which we started earlier, driving or parking upon bikeway parking penalty. And now we're going to go to the 1984 amendment and see what's there. We begin our investigation in the session laws of 1984, and this is the title page. You can see it's the 12th state legislature. And this particular legislature had a regular and a special session. They were both in this one book, all the acts passed. Now we'll turn to the table of contents so we can find the exact page that we want to go to find our bill number and our report numbers. And if you look at the table of contents, we have the list of the acts as well as committee reports of measures enacted and vetoed. Those are on page 916. So let's turn to page 916 and see what's here. This is a list by act number, and you'll see that it has the act number, the bill number, the Senate committee report number, the House committee report number, and the conference committee reports if there are any. Now let's turn to the page where we have act number 273, and we'll see that I've highlighted it here so it's easier for you to see. It was House Bill 2161, it was Senate Committee number 557-84, and the House had two committee reports, 208-84 and 449-84. There was also a conference committee on this. Now we go and retrieve one of the House journals from the regular session of 1984 from the shelf. It's a rather big book, and this particular book is divided into 3 sections. The first section is the journal. That's what happened on the floor of this particular chamber of the House during their legislative days. The middle section is the committee reports, starting with conference committee reports followed by standing committee reports. And the last section is the history, and those are tables, and they have references to page numbers in the journal itself. What you don't get from Westlaw or Lexis are the beginning pages of the journals, and they have some really interesting features, such as the photos of all the people that are in the House or the Senate. Here's a picture of our Senator Mazie Hirono from 1984 when she was a House representative. And if we turn the page, we'll see the list of all the standing committees, and I've zoomed in here so you can see who's on the Transportation Standing Committee. You can also find a list of who's on a particular standing committee online. Now let's turn the page and look at the table of contents. It starts with the journal section, and you can see that they start with the first day, the second day, the third day, like that, because they have to have 60 days for their legislative session according to law. And they always start on the third Wednesday in January. So this one did start on Wednesday, and it was January 18th, 1984. And every single day has a date associated with it. And if you look on your worksheet, you'll see that I've asked you to place the legislative day as well as the date in there. That's for your benefit if you have to go to the state archives and look up some testimony. Now let's turn the page again, and I want to call your attention to the appendix material. This is where you will find the committee reports. Notice that they come after the journal pages and before the history tables at the back. So they're very close to being in the middle of the book, which is why you can just go to the middle, get your committee reports, and be done with it. Now we turn to the middle of the book to find the conference committee report. We know we had one, and in the House journal it is 4-84. This is the entire report, and I've highlighted a section to call your attention to it because this was House Bill 2161. HD means House Draft number 2, and SD 1 is Senate Draft Number 1, and this became Conference Draft Number 1. Now we'll continue in the committee section of the House Journal, and we'll find Standing Committee Report number 208-84, which I have highlighted for you here. It's quite difficult to see these sometimes when you're flipping through the pages, but SCREP means Standing Committee Report. Don't get confused with the S for Senate, because there'll be an SSC, and this would be an HSC, so a House Standing Committee Report. This particular committee report goes on for several pages, and Section 10 was the only section we were interested in originally, but we don't know exactly what the number is at this point because this is the first committee it's been in, and they have made extensive revisions to Section 4 of the bill. We'll have to see if that impacts anything for us. So we turn the page and we see that your committee received testimony that driving of bicycles on sidewalk poses a serious hazard to pedestrians. So remember, our initial bill was about cars parking on bicycle paths, but there is a slight connection here too. So we turn the page and we find the end of the report. Bills have to be read 3 times on the floor of each chamber, and this Committee on Transportation has amended it, and they want it to pass second reading and then be referred to the Committee on Finance. You also see here that Representative Anderson did not concur with the committee. We now turn the pages and we find Standing Committee Report number 449-84. This is the second House report, and this is the report from the Committee on Finance. So let's turn the page and we find the end of the report here. We see that the House Committee on Finance has also amended this bill, and now it's House Draft Number 2. And you also see here that one representative did not concur. Now let's turn to the back of the book and we'll find the history of the bills. I've highlighted House Bill 2161-84 for you so that you can see where it is. It's sometimes difficult to line everything up, but you need to record these page numbers for the journal section of the House, and that is where you will find it's introduced, it's referred to committees, first reading, second reading, third reading, and you can also see where there is conference committee discussion and the final action as well as the action of the governor. Those are all page numbers. As you know, the page numbers for committee reports are not included here. This is just to the journal pages itself, and it's to help you find debates. One set of books we did not use were the Digest and Index of Laws Enacted. These are finding aids for the years 1963 to 1983. They help you find the bill numbers as well as the committee numbers, and they're great savings of time. I must tell you that record everything you find in here because these books are not reproduced at the state archives. You would follow the same process in the Senate journals, and I want to remind you that you need to record every number and everything that you get because you just don't know how things are organized in a different database or a different environment. So fill out your worksheet and you'll be able to just take that one worksheet with you and you'll have all the information you need. Now let's take a look at our worksheet. This is mine and I've filled it out so that you can see how it should be filled out. And some of the things I want to call your attention to are things I've added, like the 12th legislature, and I've put the abbreviation for the committees on the report numbers, as well as I've retrieved the legislative day and I looked back in the beginning to see what date that was and which page I found it on in the journal. And I've recorded all of the page numbers that came from the history section. That's, just so that we could find debate if it was there. This seemed a bit controversial with all of the amendments it went through, but those are the page numbers in the journal section, the first section that you would look at to find any floor debate. You would continue this for the Senate in the Senate journals. This concludes our lesson on how to use books to find Hawaii legislative history.